Rolling.
Okay, well, I've often talked about what it's like traveling to Florida with my parents, but with this, I'm going to talk about a vacation we took to Arkansas when I was 14 years old, almost 15. But anyway, um, I have talked a lot about what it was like to go on vacation to Florida with my parents, but in 1978, my parents decided to do something different by taking a trip to Arkansas because they had gotten to the point that they couldn't stand my grandparents, and my grandfather was a brutal authoritarian fucking prick. What happened is our next door neighbor had a heart attack and he had to take early retirement from where he was working. And I grew up back in the days when neighbors actually used to talk to one another. Remember those days?
Yeah, I was a kid then. Yeah.
Um, oh, by the way, that guy croaked though in 1979. He
Oh,
croaked a long time ago.
a year after. Yeah.
Well, our next door neighbor decided to buy a house in Bull Shoals, Arkansas, where he retired. In 1979, he expired.
Yep.
In 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 June of 1978, we decided to visit our neighbors in Bull Shoals. We arrived on a Monday, and things went over quite well during the first couple of days,
Oh.
and it was a lot nicer than being with my grandparents. But the problem is, most of the radio stations there sucked.
Uh,
At least back then, they played some good songs on top 40 radio stations. Today top 40 music is nothing but a bunch of biorepulsive fucking shit. They made meals with food that I liked and ate at restaurants. And on Wednesday, there was an all-you-can-eat buffet in Bull Shoals with all kinds of delicious food to eat. And it always makes me happy when I'm at an all-you-can-eat buffet eating endless amounts of food. Now by Thursday, things went down the toilet.
mm.
During dinner, they had very little food that I liked because I am a fussy eater, and that caused me to be in a foul mood. And my mother told me that I acted like a brat, and she was pissed at me. Uh, she didn't know at the time that I had Asperger's, and when something goes wrong, kids with Asperger's, along with adults with Asperger's, will act like a brat. And as for being a fussy eater, I'm fucking proud of it. And my mother was pissed off as hell at me for the crude sexual humor that I used. My father had a stick up his ass whenever I used crude sexual humor, but he said plenty of inappropriate shit himself. My father had a compulsive disorder for wanting me to cut my fucking fingernails because I have a penis, and he felt very strongly that a person with a dick should not look like a person who has a cunt. And the more of this bullshit he put me through, the more that I did not want to cut my fingernails, as he based his happiness on me turning into a conformist. And the more that he tried to make me become a conformist, the more mean and defiant I became, as my father was so upset because my mind wasn't nearly as weak as his, and he was so anal retentive about those fucking fingernails. Meanwhile, my father decides to tell Rudd, he's the guy who had the heart attack and croaked, who was our next door neighbor, about my long fingernails in hopes that he will be out to get me because my parents believe that once I realize the whole world was out to get me, then I will become a conformist and they will be happy, as they were too fucking stupid to realize that when the world is out to get someone, it doesn't cause them to become a conformist, but it will turn them into a psychopath. But people who breed are fucking idiots. Furthermore, while my father was telling Red about my fingernails, this is what I find fucking amazing. It just so happened that Red also had long fingernails.
Wow, that's cool.
Even my mother thought that my father was a fucking idiot for bitching about my fingernails to another guy who also has long fingernails.
Was this guy gay, by the way? This Red.
No,
Oh, okay.
he had his wife, or unless he was in the closet. I can't rule it
Uh,
out,
did
but I
he?
doubt it.
I know you don't, but did he use his fingernails to scoop up cocaine?
Not that I know of. I mean,
Oh,
maybe he did, but I don't think
oh,
so.
I'm just curious.
But Friday was our last day in Bull Shoals before we would head on over to Horseshoe Bend, Arkansas, where we would visit my mother's Uncle Neil. On that Friday, we went to a friend of our neighbors that we were staying with, of Red and K, and they did have good food to eat, and they had a tape from a band called Foreigner, and remember them from the 1970s?
Yeah.
I liked their music at the time. Well, we left Bullshaw's on Saturday, and as we were leaving, my mother started screaming at me at the top of her lungs about all the crude things that I said, including those people that we visit that I'm glad that they have a porno tape. Except I never said that.
Ah.
I said I was glad that they had a Foreigner tape. Except there are another example of how breeders are fucking idiots. Well, here's something I did say, and something I wish I had said. This person has one cunt dropping, but she adopted one of them. This woman had two kids. One was adopted, and the other was her own kid. And I asked her, "Did you make him?" And my mother was mad as hell at me for saying that. If she thought that was bad, just imagine how she would have reacted if I said, "Did he drop out your stinky, smelly twat?" My mother really would have been horrified if I said
Oh,
that.
she and your father would have cracked you over the head.
Well, throughout my life, people have fucked me over and treated me like shit for having Asperger's, but this has caused me to turn out to be a better person, and it shows. Well, we get to our Uncle Neil's house, and I am misfortunate enough to discover that he's a fucking asshole and he's very religious. And it was so fucking hot in that house,
Ugh.
and he would not turn on the air conditioner, and the music that Uncle Neil liked to listen to was known as beautiful music.
Oh, God.
It was about as beautiful as chunks of vomit and shit. And if that wasn't bad enough, he had to pipe that repulsive shit throughout the whole house, including the room I was staying in.
Oh, no.
And here's where Uncle Neil turns out to be a fucking snowflake. I told Uncle Music that the music he likes to listen to sounds a lot like cats are being strangled. And he got all pissy with me for saying that.
Oh, no.
Fucking asshole and fucking snowflake.
Yeah.
Was he a snowflake?
Yeah.
If that's not bad enough, just about every radio station in Horseshoe Bend was mainstream, vile, repulsive shit, along with a bunch of religious, Bible-thumping, fundamentalist, fucking bullshit stations. I definitely preferred staying with Red and K than that fucking asshole, as they seem to be a lot more live and let live. And Red used to swear a lot.
Wow.
He constantly took the Lord's name in vain by saying "God damn it," and he constantly used the word shit, but he hardly ever said the word fuck though.
Oh, did he ever say cunt?
I never remember him saying that.
Uh-huh.
But then that was before I was familiar with that word.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I don't remember Uncle Neil's wife saying anything to piss me off, but she mentioned that they were going to be getting cable, which was getting started in the late 70s,
Right.
so they could have better TV reception, and I mentioned that they should get cable radio stations because the ones around there really suck. And then my mother said, "You should be grateful for what you got." Middle finger there.
Yeah, that's right.
My mother would always say shit like that, and it really pissed me off.
Yeah.
What that really means is I should be so grateful every time when someone throws me crumbs because I'm not good enough to have anything any better.
Right, yeah.
And if that's not all, it's easy for her to say that because the repulsive shit music that she liked to listen to was available everywhere. Like I say, my mother enjoyed listening to WEAT when she lived in
Oh,
Florida.
beautiful music, yeah.
On the following Monday, we left Uncle Neil's place, and maybe my parents will blame me for that. And I told my mother that I hate him, and she responded by telling me that he hates me too.
Good.
What the fuck? Does she actually believe that telling me that he hates me will cause me to stop hating him?
It'll cause you to start being normal. Yeah.
People who breed are fucking idiots.
Mhm.
We went to Hot Springs for a couple days, and we were on our own for a short-lived period of time, and things went good with my parents until we stopped at a motel in Cape Girardeau, Missouri.
Oh, I know what happened there.
You remember that?
No, but I know what happened every time you went to a motel with your parents.
Well, this was even some of the worse than some of the other
Oh
experiences.
no.
Well, it was a motel in which you had to go through a hallway to get to your room, so you couldn't just go outside.
Oh dear.
And and my father acted like a total fucking prick because I decided to run outside with a thermometer to see what the temperature is. And he told me that I belonged in a mental institution because I wanted to know what the temperature is. And he was worried about what are other people going to think.
Who gives a flying fuck?
People who worry about what people think have very weak minds.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, my parents think that the only time of day that you should take a shit is in the morning right after eating breakfast, or else you're not normal. So every morning when we went on a vacation, my parents made sure that they took a shit right after eating breakfast, and they stank up the motel room. I won't forget the time when we were at a motel and I sneezed, and my father said, "Blow your nose." So I did. And then I took the Kleenex and I threw it on the ground. And then he said, "Pick that up, you fucking slob," or something like that. So when I picked it up, I took a cigarette lighter and I set the Kleenex with snot on it on fire. Fire, fire, fire.
Burning buggers.
For that experience alone, I'm so glad that I have Asperger's. Asperger's is fucking beautiful, the end.
Okay, it's almost 12 minutes.
Oh God, that took a while to get through.
It really did. Now, what
We
happens?
got 2 minutes
I would
then.
like to know what happens if, say, you have to take a shit in the afternoon or the evening. Did your parents think that you're supposed to hold it in? Or
No, not at all.
what did they think?
Take a shit.
Oh, okay.
Don't hold it in.
At least they weren't that far gone. Yeah, at least your parents were willing to stay over people's houses. My parents wouldn't. Back when we used to associate with our relatives, like we had relatives that lived like 2 hours away, and they would invite us to stay over, and my father was like, "Oh no, I have to sleep in my own bed." So we drive 2 hours, stay a few hours, and then drive back, and that's so fucking exhausting and draining. That's why I feel the way I feel about that issue.
And let's see, with what little time is left, it must be 13 minutes now.
Just going on 13 minutes. Yeah.
Let's see.
That was
wanted to
a
do
very
something
interesting.
I wanted to talk about another vacation experience that was a little bit different than going to Florida, I guess.
Yeah. That was a very interesting spoken words. Red and Kay sound rather cool, anyhow. I'm surprised that your parents had friends that were somewhat cool.
Yeah, well, Red and Kay had country fuck trophies.
Well, everyone's entitled to one mistake, huh?
Well, they had about 5 of them, though.
5 mistakes. Oh my God. Wow.
They had a lot of problems with their kids laying on drugs, and I think one of their kids, Donna, I don't think she was all there mentally. She was either on drugs or something. She might have had Asperger's as well.
Wow. Yeah. Were any of the kids there when you visited?
No.
Oh, okay. I was wondering about that.
I think they were all still living in the Chicago area.
Oh, they were grown already.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, that really sucks. Like the first few days were really good, and then it went.
Couple of days, really.
First couple of days were good, and then it went down the toilet after that.
And then they had. I get a feeling that all-you-can-eat buffet ain't there anymore.
Oh, after that many years, probably. Was it a Chinese buffet or American?
It was American.
Oh, was it as good as Golden Corral?
Yeah, it was really good.
Wow, that's
All
great.
kinds of food I liked.
Oh,
It was like
great.
a smorgasbord or something.
Oh, that sounds so good.
I like those Swedish Manor smorgasbords. Of course, they're all long gone.
Oh, of course they are. All the good stuff is gone. All right, anyway, it's time. So I'll shut this now.
What time did it go to?
14:45.